Welcome to Look Behind the Look, the new podcast that examines iconic looks in film, television, music, and fashion history. I'm your host, Tiffany Bartok. Hi, welcome to episode 23. We are coming back right after the Oscars. And I know everyone has their opinions about the Oscars and even this broadcast in general, but I was beyond thrilled to see the team from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom win the Oscar. I had just released the interview with Mia Neal, the one before this one, episode 22. She was the wig designer and hair department head on the film, and I'm sure you've seen her incredibly moving acceptance speech at the Oscars. If not, please look it up right now. It's so inspiring, so beautiful, just so well said. It was a real highlight of the whole evening. And congratulations to the whole team, to the winners Mia Neal, Jamaica Wilson, and Sergio Lopez Rivera. The team won a BAFTA as well. And that brings me to our guest this week, Morag Ross, who is also a BAFTA winner. Morag is Cate Blanchett's makeup artist for all of her films. She has been an integral part in creating her powerful looks, from Cate as Bob Dylan to Cate as the Marvel goddess Hela. And today, we speak about her incredible transformation into Phyllis Schlafly from Mrs. America. You can find a lot of press on the Mrs. America look. It was nominated for all the awards and is truly, truly flawless. But we really get into it here, and I loved talking to Morag about everything else as well. And be sure to take a look at YouTube to see the looks that we're discussing, as always. I also highly recommend following Morag on her IG because she's so generous with her beautiful content, and it includes BTS of her collaborations with Cate, and it's just really, really intimate and so educational, really, to see. She really spills some secrets on there and shows you how she does things. Her Instagram handle is Morag Ross Makeup Artist with underscores between all the words. So go do that. I wanted desperately to have Morag on as a guest after I saw her work in Mrs. America, but it was really her work in creating Hela for Thor Ragnarok that sealed the deal for me. Her resume is formidable. She has the BAFTA win for Aviator and Orlando, and nominated for Carol and Hugo, and her work on Ocean's 8, Elizabeth, Black Dahlia. I mean, this is just naming a few things. She's truly the most sincere, talented, and intimidatingly cool artist. I'm honored that she took the time to let me in on a few secrets, and I will share with you now our conversation. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me today, Morag.
You're so welcome.
I am so honored to meet you. I want to tell you how I came to your work. Just because it's a funny story. This summer during quarantine, my son and husband and I all did the Marvel movies in order and in chronological order. Online, they have like a list of how it goes. And so we did it in chronological order. And when I got to Hela, I was like, oh my God. And I was talking to Troy about it, and I was like, I want to do this for Halloween. I'm going to start planning it now. And this is it. And he's like, I know, Morag. And I said, oh my goodness, I have to talk to her about that. And then when I, looked into you, of course, I recognized 95 looks that I have worshipped all this time.
Thank you.
Really, I was looking at your resume today and was thinking there are a million looks that we could have picked, Oceans and Carol. And I mean, I'm Not There was incredible.
Yeah, pretty good.
But
Elizabeth, yeah.
I mean, so how did your relationship begin with Cate? I know it was her first movie, right? Your first movie with her, and then it just stuck, yes?
Yes, I mean, she was in a movie that I was department head, and it was called The Man Who Cried. It was set in the 1940s, and it was quite glamorous. I guess, she liked my work. It was a very busy movie for me, so it wasn't as if we had like a buddy, bonding. It was very work driven. It was a big cast, and at the end, she just said, I really like your work, and I'd love to work with you again, and so we have. For the off and on for the past 20 years.
20 years. Amazing. I was looking into the movie, which I was so surprised that I hadn't seen it. I love all the elements, circus and, all the actors are incredible. You were the makeup artist, the makeup department head. So how big was that team? Because it was really a lot of.
It wasn't a huge team. I think there were about four of us main crew, and then obviously for the essays we had extra makeup and hair people come in. Right, so it wasn't a big budget movie at all. Mm-hmm. So it was extremely hard work, which is what I mean when I say we didn't have time to like make friends or anything. It was very like concentrated.
Where did it shoot? Was it in London?
In Paris, was really, that was the upside. It was fantastic to be in Paris. Yeah, it was really good.
Oh man, the movie is just beautiful and so the looks are so glamorous and amazing. Yeah. And then you stuck with each other through then. And I mean, I may or may not, I don't know how to say this, but when I love the way Cate looks, I noticed that the credit is always Morag, and I wondered if you definitely have a special touch to her. It's I don't know what it is. It's something magical. And can you explain how you approach? Do you approach her first as her and her skin and face to behave, and then work the character into that? This is kind of a esoteric question, but
I think yes. I think knowing her face, or knowing one person's face,
right,
is definitely a bonus as a makeup artist. If you're going to be doing character makeups, or if you're going to just concentrate on beauty, it's really helpful. And I guess that is what I think of first, and I think how I can mold that and adapt it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How do you
for instance, going from, we did Elizabeth the Golden Age, and then 3 weeks later we did Bob Dylan, and I have to say, but I was not fazed at all. I just thought, I cannot wait to do this. I know that I can do this. And I just thought, because I knew Cate's face, and I thought, this is going to work. And
I know that I didn't warn you that I was going to talk about Bob Dylan, but how now that you're here, I'm just, how did you, 3 weeks later? So you're researching Bob Dylan while you're working on Elizabeth? Is it overlapped?
Yeah. Okay. The research overlapped, and the actual film was the makeup and hair department was run by Peter Owen, designed the wigs and made the wig for Bob Dylan, and Rick Findlater was on set as the makeup and hair department head. So it was a very strong team behind it, and we did a fitting. Peter brought the wig round. We did a fitting with Cate for Bob Dylan in London while we were still working on Elizabeth, and we just discussed it. I said, I think it'd be good to have little gentle sideburns and maybe eyebrow pieces to go for it a bit more, and then took it from there.
Oh, it's extraordinary. I mean, I'll never forget that first vision of seeing her.
It wasn't Peter Owen, sorry. I should just say Peter King.
Oh, okay.
We used to work together, and I did.
Okay. I remember hearing that it was going to happen, and everybody was like, "Oh, how is this going to work? How is this going to work?" And when you saw that first image from set, it worked 100%. And so you're very confident that these things. I feel like what I've seen of you, you're very confident and assured, and that's really a quality that leads to the longevity and making the actor feel safe and like she's got this. And do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know?
Well, most of the time. I mean, I guess it's even funny to hear myself talking about that situation with that confidence that I felt. Because normally it is the opposite way. I'm just, I suffer from imposter syndrome, just
really
as many people. Yeah. And I think in a creative job, generally, we all get nervous because there's always a huge element of the unknown. And so there's always anxiety at the beginning. And certainly I always feel anxiety. I mean, I'm about to start a job and I've already, started tossing and turning at night thinking, what about this? And, yeah, how am I going to do that? And it just comes with the job, I think. And I think, you know, complacency just doesn't bode well for a creative experience, I think, because you're just not going to be open to things that happen or struggle or searching for a good look, you know.
I'm so happy to hear you say all this right now, because I was thinking before I talked to you, I was like, you know, her work is so compelling and interesting. And I hope I was getting nervous to ask you the right questions, you know, and I'm like, why I talk, you know, talking is so, why am I overanalyzing this? But the second that you're not, and you're not thinking about it and you're not getting nervous is when you should probably stop doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Can you share with us what you are going to be going in to working on, or no, not yet?
We're getting ready to do a film. I think it's common knowledge, you know, Kate's going to do a film called Borderlands.
Yeah.
And shooting in Hungary. So I'm just getting ready for that. And actually will be my first film since the pandemic started. So
And that's wonderful. That's wonderful, because you got COVID, yeah? Did you?
I did get COVID.
Yeah.
In fact, I was supposed to do a film over Christmas,
Oh.
and unfortunately, tested positive on the 23rd of December. So things changed a little bit.
Oh my gosh, but look at you persevering. Resilience. I'm really happy to hear that you're going to be shooting soon, and I'm glad that we're starting to all move forward out of all this.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you first about Mrs. America. Really astonished by this look, because you know, Phyllis is an unlikable person. And first of all, the performance was incredible, you know, making you feel empathy for someone like Phyllis. And the looks, I was curious how you came together to form this look other than just looking at the real Phyllis, and how Cate and you worked. And for wigs, it was Carrie, right?
Carrie, yes. Carrie,
yes.
amazing.
Yes. And you worked together on this look. And I wondered how you used blue eyeshadow without it looking like an icy, it was soft and beautiful. And, you know, the evolution of her sort of coming together and becoming like, I got this at the end, and sort of evolving into, I was reading articles calling the look glamorous, which is hilarious to think.
That's hilarious, yes.
You know, and, you know, can you talk a little bit about the evolution of the look of her and translating it from the real Phyllis to the one that was played on the screen? I think it was excellent.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the real Phyllis was not a glamorous person.
Right.
She was very, very conservative and always wore blue eyeshadow. And she, but I think what's interesting always is the arc of the evolution. You know, she started off she was a conservative woman and conservatively dressed, probably went to the hairdresser once a week for a shampoo and set. Quite old-fashioned considering what was happening in the States at the time. Definitely of the more behind the times fashion. And but, you know, as the 10 years that Mrs. America covers progressed, she did develop a look and stuck to it and became slightly more, I guess became more polished, and it became more severe. And there was a hint of Margaret Thatcher about it, with the hair that was sprayed. You could imagine that, you know, it would be hard to the touch. And to translate that, I mean, I think it's interesting to translate that to television, because obviously you want to get a good representation physically of that woman. And again, it's what would I do with Kate's face and my makeup? So, for instance, I mean, starting really like with the bones of it, she had very specific teeth. She had two, they're called butterfly teeth, where the front two teeth are a bit like a butterfly. They sit slightly in front of the other teeth. So I had a little veneer made. by Chris Lyons at Fangs Effects, which is fantastic. So that immediately changed Cate's, and the focal point as a speaker. It's fantastic to have that, to have Phyllis's teeth. And then, you know, the makeup, I mean, yeah, it was blue eyeshadow, but I felt, you know, she starts off looking maybe dowdier at the beginning and progresses into a more polished look. To use and to be true to Phyllis, but also, I think, again, I mean, maybe I'm just, you know, over embellishing my contribution, but, you know, Cate's performance was so amazing because, yes, she was a very right-wing politician, and Cate's performance is so amazing that you see something very rich, and it makes you do have an empathy for her at certain times, which you may not have had if you just read about her.
Exactly.
And in the same way, I suppose, with the makeup, because it's television, I was thinking, well, how can you make this look like Phyllis, but also make it look good? Yes. Also make it look kind of great in a way. So the first thing was the very opening scene, which was a bit of a red herring, because it starts, it's called Mrs. America. It starts with a beauty pageant, and you see Phyllis in this two-piece swimsuit. And originally, Cate had said, well, I think this should be, you know, it looks like she's done her own makeup for the pageant. And I said, really, I don't want to do it that way. I really think, let's, you know, imagine that you've gone to the best department store in the city, and one of those girls has done your makeup for the beauty pageant. And because I really felt it was one moment to do this more iconic makeup of the period. It was an excuse that it could be done. And also it was a bit of a red herring, because you didn't know then, what is this series about? You know,
yes, what kind of Mrs. America?
It's nothing to do with the beauty pageant. It's about politically what was happening. But it was also just to, I suppose, to hook people in visually and to capture them visually, because you think, wow, you know, Cate, she looks amazing. And, you know, and I got a big kick out of it as well, you know. And Cate starts off looking great, and I was like, yeah, this is really good.
So you and Cate conspire and you come up with something, and then do you bring that to the director about that look, like, this is what we've decided?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. You know, obviously, you know, we work hand in hand, and Cate has very specific ideas, and we usually talk everything through and bounce ideas off each other to get to the final look. And yes, you know, obviously we run it by directors and say, you happy with this? This is the road we're going to go down. Is there something specific that you felt, you know, should be created at this moment?
That's such it's so brave to push back, you know, to have that relationship. And what a gift that you can really sort of bat ideas back and forth with Cate, you know. And it was also interesting about how her look did not evolve per se, but it was perfected, because it's very true to her character to be like, I feel she would say, this works for me and I'm not going to change this.
And she didn't, yes.
Right. And I, just like I do everything else, that we're sticking with this. And but it was refined in a way. And do you develop a look in a series like that before the show begins shooting, or are you ever inspired as you begin to film?
Well, it was 5 months. So we didn't.
Oh, God.
It was 5 months shooting, and also chronologically, but also I can't remember how much prep time. You know, you would never really have enough prep time to map all those looks out. You might have the idea in your head, but to physically map them out would be a great luxury. So a lot of it is about the evolution, and you realize as you're doing it, this is what it needs. And it was a gift in a way, because Phyllis did start out being slightly more homely looking and less put together. You know, Kerry didn't do the hair in such a perfect way for her first TV interviews. You know, he used lots of lovely flyaways, and you could, I could see how I was going to slowly build the makeup to become not a mask, but to become more of a refined look.
No, it was 100%. I don't know what it is. It's a secret that you had for this particular piece where I believe that she put that on every day. I believe that she wore this every day. This was not like something where I'm seeing I always call it the school play syndrome when in period pieces, when it's sort of, you can see the wig, it doesn't move or behave in any way. And the makeup is like, you can tell that they sat in the chair and then they went to the set. And there was an ability for this whole look to be so believable and move, with her. I just thought that the work was incredible. Was there a particular look in the show that you were most proud of? Was it the opening scene, probably?
As a beauty look, I just love the opening scene. But I thought exactly what you're describing worked because you saw the character as a real person. So you saw her at home. There was an episode where she's going through the menopause, which I loved. So she's all hot and quite sweaty. And then she has the eye patch. And you see her vulnerable at night, before she's going to bed. And I think it's those moments that bring that credibility. It's a real person who, she gets up and she gets dressed and she goes to the hairdresser, and but she's a vulnerable human being also. So it's nice to have those differences in the makeup too, I think.
Do you prefer one or the other, being a personal or a department head?
I was a department head for so many years, and I would department head again if the right project came along, but I'm very happy with what I'm doing. And I think they're both stressful in different ways. They both have their own little challenges, and they're just the weight of the stress is put in different places, So the wonderful thing about working with Cate is that she never looks the same.
I know.
So it's constantly a challenge, and it's not as if I kind of feel, I'll pack that kit. I know exactly what it's going to be, and I can do it like painting by numbers with my eyes closed. It's always how are we, going to achieve this? So.
And I also think that you understand how she works, and then you know what ideas she's going to respond to. I mean, that's obvious or whatever, but I wonder if sometimes you look over here and you have an idea about somebody else doing something on, say, Mrs. America. And do you ever find yourself collaborating, or do you stay in your lane and sort of just focus on?
What do you mean, talking about other people's makeup?
Like, do you ever see it as a whole? Does it ever, being that you were a makeup department head, does that ever, like, do you ever feel like you can't look all around because you'll go back to that?
I think I do that automatically.
You do?
I look all around. Of course I do, yes. I look all around at everything. But, it's not my call. But it's very nice. Nice is such a weak word, but it's great to be part of a team. Being personal when it's a great team, because you'll talk about things anyway.
Right.
And I think, there's a lot of mutual respect with the makeup department, because, we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And it's great to have each other's backs, and even just for a chat about, like, what would you do about this? Or, I loved what you did yesterday. And I think that's part of, it's part of being in a project together. It's not, you might be a personal to one actor, but it doesn't mean that you're in any way exclusive. It just means that is your role, but you're still part of the team.
Exactly. Yes, that's what I was curious about. I was having trouble forming the idea, but I would wonder how that all plays out. And then, okay, so now we can switch worlds and we can go into the Marvel world for a second, where it's very different, right? It's a huge
Huge
machine.
difference.
And were you shocked? Was this your first? This is the first time she is Hela, right?
Yes,
She
yes,
shows up as Thor.
she's been Hela once, yes.
Yeah, and this must have been like a lot of fun.
It was amazing fun. It was really, really great fun. We shot in Australia, which was amazing. And oh yeah, it was fantastic. It was really,
It's a really incredible look. I mean, there's burgundy in the black. There's everything shows up. It is incredible. I didn't. I could not believe my eyes when I saw this character come on the screen, and I was so impressed. And can you tell us anything about the development of that look? Did it come from your mind and the comic? Where did it originate? What was first
well,
shown?
we had to be originally, when we started the prep for the makeup and hair, we were given guidelines from the Marvel Universe, and it was very much from the comics to be true to the Marvel Universe, which was quite conservative in a way.
Yeah.
The look from the studio, and so we started out doing makeup and hair tests, and makeup was more traditional, I would say, when we started out.
Yeah.
And it was actually, we just really kind of kept it cooking and pushing. And Cate was fantastic, because she really very gently would say, let's just try this, let's try that, let's keep trying other things. And we tried a lot. We did, I remember we tried really glossy black lips at one point, which I loved, but nobody really went for those. It was quite a hard look, but Hela is quite a hard she's the goddess, so she is quite a hard character. But anyway, that was one of the things in the pot at one point. And at one point, and it does appear in the film, we went for a lot more green in the eye makeup to go with the metallic green to go with her amazing.
Oh my God, that costume! I mean, wow. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I had a lot of palettes on the go, and I did mix a lot of things myself, just because we were trying out so many things. And I remember even arriving, when we got to the black suit, the opening where we first see Hela, which has the wonderful ultra smoky eyes. Obviously, I wanted a nude lip, and because I had tried so many different permutations of black lips and burgundy lips, and I remember I had this pale grey lipstick, and that's what I did. I mixed the pale grey because I wanted like a nude, but not like a lipstick color nude. And that's what I found was with this pale grey, and I just dipped a little touch of wine color into it, which made this really, it's the color of lips actually.
Yeah.
And then just used a little bit of liner. And that's how I got my natural lips, which I know you would probably want to talk about the eye makeup, but I think I love the lips as well. I mean, the eye makeup was just, that kind of evolved too. I went for it, and then it was an interesting thing to actually, because the smokiness went under the eyes as well as above. That was quite a challenge to make that look good over the course of a 13-hour day.
That's my biggest question. How did you keep up that continuity?
Yes, and without it kind of creasing and just looking not so, because it had to look like a sort of sfumatura, they would say in Italy. It had to be just blending out as if it had been airbrushed on. And so I wouldn't do under the eyes until we actually got onto the set.
I see.
And I would do it at the last minute. And then I would buff it, before each close-up with a fluffy brush. And I would just buff it to make sure that it was buffed out of any little fine lines or laugh lines or whatever.
Oh my God, amazing. How do you, her skin is so, flawless. Obviously, it's like the big thing. How does it, do you have to care for her skin every day on set? Like, does it add to the time, or do you just sort of do it in every other day maybe, or do you do it every
No,
day? Do you
I
prep the
do
skin
like to do a lot of
every
skin
day?
preparation every day. I think
It's got to be
it's
the most important.
fantastic. It's got to be the most. It's fantastic because it gives to the person at first thing in the morning they're going to feel good. It's going to wake up the face.
Yeah.
The hours are so long. It detoxes. It moves everything. It tones. So I do a lot of facial massage. I do facials and as much as I can really. Probably there's a good. We allow at least half an hour every morning for facial work
That
before
seems
we actually start.
that seems
But then
totally
you have to get into,
right.
how long it actually takes. So that half hour is, it's quite luxurious, but it's a kind of commitment that we both want to make because I
Yeah.
just think it's so worth it.
Yes. 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 Do you do that to yourself?
I try to, every day, absolutely no way. But I try to dedicate one day a week, absolutely to my face.
Honestly,
Just whatever I can.
you have the greatest skin and face. It's amazing. I was assuming that you had like a wonder gadget for your face, but
I do love gadgets. I
do you?
am, yeah, I'm absolute sucker for gadgets. I just love them. I will, and it's funny. They have become really, really popular, haven't they?
I know.
Over the past few years, they've
Yeah.
become really like big business. They're used much more, even down to the facial massage stones, the quartz
Yep.
stones. Yeah.
Do you think they're
Um,
being used correctly though? I always wonder about that. I don't know.
Probably, I think correctly. I think if an esthetician who'd been trained in that field could probably get more out of them. I don't think you're going to do harm or anything because there's no electric current. It's a quartz stone, and facial massage is so good. I think some of the moves are going to be very obvious, and you could probably get more if you really studied. You could probably get more out
Right.
of them. So,
Right. So
but
it's not
it's really great.
it's not doing any damage, but it's not
Yes, it's very. I would say that how you use them probably varies from person to person.
right. How did you I'm thinking as I'm talking, how did you find your way from Glasgow to movies?
I was at art college in Glasgow,
Art.
and I started doing makeup as an art student. So I
Oh,
was really lucky. I loved makeup. I did it in my spare time. I worked for hairdressers, and somebody said to me, "Listen, you could apply to BBC television because they train people to do makeup." And I didn't know that, and I at the time, it doesn't exist anymore, which is really
okay.
sad. At the time, they would have makeup school, so you had to go for an interview to get into the makeup school, which I did, and I was just very fortunate. In fact, I think the year that I applied, when I was finishing art college, they wanted to try art students, coincidentally, which is why I got accepted. So I think there were 12 of us, and maybe 10 of us had all been to art school. So it was called the makeup school. You stayed there for 3 months. You kind of did a little bit of everything, and you got a report on what you did. And then if you went through that successfully, they took you on as a trainee. Then you were a trainee for the rest of 2 years. If you did that, you became an assistant. So it was a very thorough training in makeup and hair.
Oh, that's amazing. I
Mm.
didn't know. I wish they had this much training
Oh no,
now.
it was incredible because you
Wow.
did makeup, hair, you did wigs, you did special effects.
So why didn't you find yourself going into the wigs?
Well, I did,
You
and for a
did.
long time I did makeup and hair, and I gave it up. I think after, was it Charlotte Gray? So I did do like makeup and hair and wigs. for quite a lot of
Oh
movies.
my God.
And then I just felt it became too much. Yeah, a lot of the time, yes. If there's a lot of wigs and it's one person
it's
doing all
absolutely
the,
too much.
it's just like, 17 hours a day, every day. And I just thought, no.
No. And The Aviator too was really extraordinary. And was that fun to do? Or was it a lot
It
of
was, yes.
pressure? I would
It was
feel
a lot of
like,
pressure. It was a big film. And again, I was department head as well as looking after Kate. So there was a lot to do. But yeah, I mean, it was Martin Scorsese. It was just such an honor for a start. And it was a beautiful movie to do.
yeah.
It was a great period. It was really good. It was hard work, but it was good fun.
Yes. I mean, that's many people's favorite, I'm sure. I love the way she looks in that movie, but I love how she looks every time you do her. And then you're getting ready to go again. You're ready. Are you a little bit nervous about protocols and?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I've done some work over the year, but just like daily work. So within COVID regulations. I think, it's tough, I think, to do movies with all the COVID protocol in place. You were asking about the inspiration and how we got the look for Hela. And,
Yes.
I remember that Kate, very cleverly actually, and it threw myself, Kay Georgia was doing the hair and she did that beautiful black wig. And Kate said, I really like this look. And it was from the punk era. And it was a person in England called Sue Catwoman. To what land are we traveling now? But actually, it was the sort of kernel of thought that brought about the final look, because we realized that we just had to push a little bit further. Which is why, in the end, I suppose, I pushed the eye makeup further to create something that was just more striking. Because even at that, Hela is actually, she's the goddess of death. We could have gone, if the production had wanted, she could have had half skull, half real face.
Oh, right.
A lot of the time. So really, I think it was absolutely right to want to push it to be darker and to be richer and to have more impact.
Yeah, because she's the worst. So mean. Yes. A true villain. Yes. And is there a point when you realize, like, we've got it? That's it.
I think it was when we shot that look for the first time. And I remember looking in the monitor and thinking, it photographs so beautifully. It's so strong and it's striking, because she's a goddess. She has to be commanding, and it was kind of mesmerizing and terrifying at the same time. You're just sucked in by.
And what comes first? Does she harness that power of the character, and then that translates into how far you're going to push it, or just the legend and lore of Hela? Is that what? Do you do it all at the same time?
Not really. I mean, I suppose that's the thing. That's a good question, because we do makeup and hair and costume tests, and we arrive at the look before we see Kate's performance. That's all done in pre-production. So it's amazing to then watch Kate work and to see the character come to life. And that's what I'm saying. It makes a lot of sense when Kate or any other actor has a request and say, I really feel that I should have, I don't know, stronger eye makeup, or right. Harsher hair or whatever, because it's their thought process and it is their attention to detail for their character, and it has to be instrumental in their work. At the end of the day, we are just facilitating, creating their character, but they have to actually bring them to life.
Yes. And were you a little bit like, oh shit, now we've committed to this look where I have to I have to 17 hours a day make sure that it looks
No, do you
exactly
know what? I did really love it, and I still love it.
yeah.
I look at it and I get a kick out of it, and
It's
it was so
extraordinary.
fun.
But there's no liquid in there. There's no, it's all shadow, it's all powder.
It was all powder eyeshadows and eyeliner
Yeah.
and kohl pencils,
Oh my
lashes.
gosh. Yes, because
That's
I had originally thought that you would say that it was, do you know that consistency? It's not a cream shadow, but it's almost tacky. It's almost
Yeah.
I forget who makes it, but that's what I thought that it was, because it does have a sheen to it that's like incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But then now when you do press for like something like Thor, does she want to ever make a nod to that look? That, because I never have seen her really, have I, in like smoky eyes, like on the red carpet? I feel like she left Hela on the screen there.
Yes, I think Hela's
Yeah.
on. I think characters are on the screen,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's where
And
they should be, I suppose. Yeah.
yes. And now, when this Thor, this particular Thor is many people's favorite Marvel movie, so I would assume that Hela would make another appearance magically.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I would love that. I
Yeah.
haven't heard anything about that myself,
Yeah.
but you would hope that she would
Ooh,
have the power to be resurrected,
yes.
to return.
If anyone did, her and Wanda are quite powerful, Yes, I think that we did talk about the looks enough. I mean, it's never enough, obviously. There's always something more to
I
say.
think it's also nice. Well, the interesting thing is talking about awards. You never. Well, at least I don't. You don't go into a job thinking, "Oh, I want to win an award," or "I'm doing this and I'm going to get an award." I don't think one ever thinks about that. It's absolutely something that just happens, and it's lovely, and it can be exciting, and it's humbling, and all those things that, but it's not why you work.
Right.
Absolutely not. It's a
Right.
nice thing, but it's not. It's just I don't think it enters into it really.
Well,
It's a bit like if you're not still anxious, or if you're just in it
exactly.
for rewards, I think it's all over.
Well, yes, because your motivation and the whole the incentive is all wrong, and then the universe tends to not award us for those types of
Yes.
things.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then it crushes your soul, because how can you come up from that? You've done a whole look
Yes.
just because you thought like everyone will pay attention. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Then you're doubly, triply crushed when it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you can have the longevity that you've had if you're not showing up every day because you just love it, and are excited by what's happening and what's being created, and have a great relationship with your muse. And, it's you have it all, Morag.
I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is that? I'm very much on here. Everyone always says I've been very lucky. And I just do not believe in that. I don't believe in it, because I think that we create our destinies and the ability to hold on to them. And I think
and it's hard work. Yes. You
you're
have to make a commitment.
you're very level-headed, and you're very practical, and then have the right amount of love for it. When the love goes away, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anyone? People always like to give advice. Sometimes, like, I ask for 3 pieces of advice to somebody you might encounter who's like, I want to do what you do.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's that typical thing about what would you tell your younger self.
Uh-huh.
I did start when I was really young. I think I was only about 28, 29 when I did my first feature film as makeup designer, which is extremely young. And I had to learn a lot along the way after that, because that put me on my own. I wasn't working as an assistant. I was working as a designer.
Right.
So consequently, everything that followed, I did, well, a lot of it, I just had to work out for myself. And I didn't mind that, but I think if I were to give advice, it would be, don't go too quickly. Absolutely grab any opportunity you can to learn from people that you really respect, because it will only benefit you in the end. And I didn't do that, and I think it worked out fine, but it could have, I could have been enriched in a different way, and that would have been fine too. And that's what I would actually recommend to somebody.
I love that.
If you get the chance to work with somebody that you really love, absolutely take it, and learn what you can, and just wait a little bit. I think, also, I've done this for 40 years, and the makeup industry has changed so enormously. And makeup, just as an industry, as a craft, as a possible career, all those things have changed, and the aspirations of young people to follow those paths has become, it has changed a lot as well. I mean, the great thing about like social media and the internet is there is this huge forum for learning and for sharing, which there wasn't obviously when I started. And that's incredible.
Right.
Not just for learning as well as for sharing your work. But there also can create a false sense of, oh, I'm a makeup artist, I'm ready. And it is sort of running before you can walk. Or, I don't know, it can
That's
be limiting.
interesting. I agree with you because you're getting the validation from onlookers and not necessarily from the industry. And so you don't know who is validating what, and not having the experiences that.
And it is, I'm not saying yes or no. It's just, it's a different world.
Very different.
It's a very different world. And I suppose the one thing that I love about it is the fact that it is a forum, that it is a sharing place, and that people love learning about little things that they didn't know about makeup.
I mean, my God, to be able
to share that.
Yes. I mean, to be able to come in contact with you, I would never have been able. I remember writing letters to people and mailing them to the production company, because I wanted to meet with them or work with them, and just being able to contact you so I can talk to you about a look that inspired me so much, is a gift of social media and all of that good stuff. So that's the good thing. However, it is complicated. Yes, absolutely. But I'm very excited for what's next for you, Morag, and I can't wait to see more. I appreciate.
And hopefully, everything's going to open up soon and life will be better for all of us.
Thanks for listening to my conversation with the world's coolest makeup artist, Morag. I know that, like me, you could listen to her accent all day. And I can't wait to see what's next for her and Cate, and I'll be sure to have her back on if she can. Next week, my guest is so huge that I can't even tell you who it is because I don't want to jinx anything. It's a person that inspired me so much in my life and inspired so many people and artists. And I can't believe he's going to be on this podcast. So stay tuned to IG, Look Behind the Look. I'll be hinting about who this mystery guest is, and you're going to love it. Look Behind the Look is a Vinyl Foot production, written by me, your host, Tiffany Bartok, produced by Jace Bartok, edited by Nicole Tucker. If you're interested in learning more, find our video version on the YouTube channel Look Behind the Look podcast. There you can see rare photos and clips from our guests. And please follow us on Twitter at LookBehindPod and Instagram at Look Behind the Look. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe, and tell your friends and spread the word. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or any podcatcher of your choice. Thanks for listening to Look Behind the Look.